is crap because I had no recording. Wonderful. Oh well. Nobody popping in to let me know that there was no sound today because I had unplugged the thing. So the first 20-some minutes of this video were an absolute trap. Alright, so we're going to have to try to do the quick version. Taking a look at this opening hand, there's probably more creatures than we like, but you know, we do have the Swift Spear into Slick Shot show off opening, which is the easiest way to open up these games. So, opponent leads on. We're going to lead on DRC simply because this is very likely to get removed. Yep, forgot to check to make sure the microphone was attached because I disattached this for a work-related meetings and such because I have another microphone I have to use for that. So, apologies for the first 20-some minutes kind of being, unfortunately, a waste of time. So, against the Reanimator deck again? I don't think so. Alright, just gonna poke in for one here. Play the Swift or Soulscar Mage. So basically with the too long didn't read version of this deck that I had to skip over in the first 20-some minutes because I wasn't talking. Well, I was talking, but no one could hear me. This version was the combo version of the deck. It was built around the scale up / assault strobe thing, very similar to an infect deck. It is does not want to be interactive, just wants to end the game quickly. Like we did against our Reanimator opponent, you kind of hope your opponent taps out for something absolutely stupid, and then, you know, we just kind of get them from there. And this is kind of the game you gotta play against these like mid-range decks. It looks like we're up against Jund Creativity, maybe? I'm not sure, but and then what we're going to do is lead on our Surveil land, see what we can find. Fourth land would not be terrible. Go ahead and bend that. Play this, just continue to chip in for damage, and then kind of close out the game. So the thing with this version is it's not terrible against opponents that are trying to be heavily interactive but don't necessarily play a lot of creatures. The opponents like, you know, Jund mid-range, other Prowess decks, now Boros Energy, you know, those decks with heavy amounts of interaction and board presence are a lot trickier because they can both stifle your creatures and force you to hold up mana to protect them. I still would not be surprised if our opponent is on. Yep. Called it. Are they really going to go for a naked? Great. Oh, Fable. Okay. This is like, that would be quite the dangerous call with a Lava Dart sitting in the yard. Do I let that go? Do I care? Huh. I think we let that one go. Question is can I present lethal without only one free spell? That would be +3 +2 +2. So it'd be 10, double striking 11. If they were for some reason not to block the Swift Spear, we can present lethal here. But I don't see that happening, but we at least have to put them in that position. This is one of the considerations for playing Slick Shot or plotting Slick Shot last turn. Would have been I think we forced them to jump block with Fable here. It reduces the possibility of they could have jumped here, kept this around, made a token with the Fable and creativity for 2. This way, the best case scenario, they go to 3. We don't lose any of our creatures, and their best thing would be to creativity into Fable, or persist back Fable perhaps. Loot away 2 of those. If they have persist and persist, we really get smoked, but interactive spell. Unfortunately, they do. I think they have to take Monstrous Rage. Slab depends on what we draw here. We have no choice but to go for what we got. If they got a bolt or something, which I don't know why they would. We trade. creativity to follow all this up. Guess we see how many actual Archons they have. Yep. Alright, so Blood Moon's not terrible against them. Tormod's Crypt's also fairly reasonable. Bolt doesn't do a whole lot. Lava Dart's okay in small doses. Neogenic Growth, a lot of it depends on what their removal base suite is. So for now, we'll kind of go like this and this. And then board out. One or two copies of Scale Up. No lander can't keep. Sand is fine, if a little dubious. We just try to wind up the turn 3 kill, put back Swift Spear, and hope we can go like turn 1, surveil land, turn 2, slick shot, turn 3, unload our hand, kill them. And if they thought sees us or whatever, then we're just kind of cooped. Does nothing. Get our surveil land here. Not really looking for a non-hasty threat right now. Really didn't want that either, but we'll roll with it for now. So I'd really like to draw a third land. Renin ticks with no... Okay, sure. Alright, so... Play Slick Shot. Play Assault Strobe. Play this. Play that. That's what our deck is trying to do. Blood Moon on the draw is even more questionable. Lightning Bolt, Scale Up, Pick Your Poison, Eugenic Growth, etc. Huh. Well, no lander again, so we have to mulligan. Back one of our 3 of a kind. Just gonna play that. Let's see what. Put that in the graveyard. Okay, I think our opponent, if our opponent had Thoughtseize on one, they would have gone ahead and played it. Wait until next turn, see if they discard something. Obviously, the punishment here is if they mill something or milled a Archon into a Persist, but it's likely if they're dumping a Persist in the graveyard that they already have their bases covered. So play Swift Spear, play DRC, play that out. Bottom that because we really need a land. With a mulligan to 5, it was awkward, it seems. Or they were just passing to their second main phase to see if we're holding up something like mutagenic growth. Anger of the Gods, Brotherhood's End, Fable. Fable. Alright. Soulstrobe, turn that. Should likely be able to push enough damage with that, so. See if they catch the possible delirium with that. That becomes, do we want to risk using the Tormod's Crypt just to kill their Fable token? Obviously, this is risky if they have Archon plus whatever here. Hey, how are you, Bobby? So it goes to 7. Considering their options. So, you pitch a bitter reunion. What does that tell me about their hand? It tells me they don't have an Archon. It does not tell me that they won't have a creativity here, though. Yep. Which means we just die. I suppose we're not just dead if we surveil into Lava Dart, then we can, whichever one they block with Archon here, we can trade with or potentially kill them. I presume they have to block here. So, gotta get a little bit lucky with this surveil. That would not qualify as getting lucky. We're just losing this Archon, so. Unfortunate, but that is the nature of the matchup in some regards. Alright, right into... This hand, the biggest risk with this hand is only having one creature, but I do think is a hand you risk. So, if you have 2 lands to operate, you have pump spells. So, definitely one of the better opening prowess hands, with the exception of, obviously, dies to removal .laugh. Opponent opens on Blood Crypt into DRC Bobble. Yep. So I would assume that we're up against the Delirium deck, Rakdos Delirium. So I think our next turn is going to go like Bolt, DRC, well, attack, see if they block with DRC. Probably Bolt, DRC, hold up Blossoming Defense. Alternatively, we can just use Monstrous Rage to push through things. I just don't care about them having Delirium. Yeah, just take my 1 point of damage, like it, and play my DRC out, holding up interaction one way or another. Nether Life. Kind of matters, kind of doesn't. Burning Inquiry incoming. Nope. No blocks. Okay. Does that third land matter? It might. Alright. So, we already have lands. Instant. Basic Mountain. Salt Strobe. Let's get some Surveil on. Okay. Okay, that's a 6/5. Bolt the face. And you're dead to Exaxes, I do believe. Nope, dead by -1. Okay. Alright, so we're up against... So they do bring in the bird. Or they do have the bird. I don't know how relevant that is to bring in Pick Your Poison. May literally just be Bring these 5 in, go down Lava Darts, because the only thing they really... I mean, I guess they kind of kill both unturned on DRCs and Bowmasters, but I don't know how much we care about those. And then... Bobble might be our worst card, quote unquote, with bringing in Tormod's Crypt. Try like that. Alright, the one lander. I think on the draw we can't risk this hand. This hand has a lot of what I liked about the other hand. Putting back Blossoming Defense. Turn 1 Nether Glyph. Turn 1 DRC Bobble. This out, fetch, bolt. Thoughtseize, naturally. Goodbye, Soul Skirmage. Or the could take Snakeskin Mail alternatively. Really need another threat this turn. Whether that be upkeep, so we don't get hit by Thoughtseize, but we do get hit by Bowmasters. Mm-hmm. Do you risk the Thoughtseize? Apparently not. And obviously, if my opponent has a bolt, that is an interesting choice. can only assume they're going to block here. It's almost like playing against old Jun Shadow in some regards. Just can't keep the one lander. Once again, can't keep the one tap lander. Going to 5, an absolutely terrible hand, but we have to keep it. So we thought these are a fatal push. Naturally. Pass. I mean, it's a good creature, but I don't think it's good enough here. It's a hollow one incoming with Arena of Glory, perhaps. This looks like a hasted hollow one. Yep, so we're getting hit for 8. We hit a slick shot at the top. We do just have them dead, but that's a 4 of, and I think they know what's coming off the top of our deck, so. I think. Can only assume I have to take the scale up here. Will be their 5th card type in the graveyard. And obviously Bolt, Tarfire, Unholy Heat are lethal. Or do they have the Phoenix? Looks like it might be the Phoenix. Goes to 3, and I don't believe there's a draw off the top of our deck that's lethal here. No, without a creature in play, we had to chump or we were dead, so. Alright, quick wrap with Gruul Combo energy, since I kind of, the first 20 minutes or so was on mute, basically. This version was more the counter to Nadu, Eldrazi, those kind of decks, the kind of uninteractive, fast combo decks, even to a certain extent Storm, most notably piloted by Brian Boss at Pro Tour MH3. It combined, mainly was built around the combo of Scale Up, which turned your Prowess creatures into 7/5s almost automatically, and then combine it with Assault Strobe to be basically a 2-card plus a creature kill in most situations, with DRC, Swift Spear, or Soul Skirmage, as well as Slick Shot. This version got worse and worse after Nadu, especially after Nadu's banning, as Energy and Dimir Frogtide kind of took off. And then, other decks such as, the Rakdos deck Rakdos Delirium deck we just played against, which combines basically mid-range shell with creatures, or quick, easy-to-play creatures in interaction, much like this deck would fold to, the Stella deck when it was in fact would fold to a lesser extent control, but more mid-range. Basically, you have creatures that you have to get around, plus removal spells, makes it very difficult. And basically, the deck that's on the play kind of got the advantage in the matchup. As removal's gotten more and more efficient, whether it's been Fatal Pushes, Unholy Heats, Galvanic Discharges, Solitudes, these style of decks have gotten a little bit worse and a little bit worse. The reason why it was decent during the Nadu meta was the fact that Nadu was basically a turn 3 uninteractive combo deck, other than the occasional blocker and a little bit of interaction sometimes with Court of Callings or whatnot, but largely, as I said, uninteractive combo deck. So this deck was in its heyday then. I tried piloting it some, since Nadu's ban, etc. The deck just got much like the rest of Prowess, just got a little bit worse and a little bit worse because energy, number one, is such a bad matchup. And a lot of the uninteractive decks are just faster than the energy version of this deck and the Teamer Prowess version of the deck. And then this version, it just kind of gets destroyed by anything with a bunch of removal. Like I said, this version, you can obviously tell which version it is by the fact of the presence of Assault Strobe and Scale Up. Some of the energy versions sometimes play Monstrous Rage and whatnot, but mainly that's the big differentiator is, if you're playing a bunch of pump spells in your deck, you're playing the Prowess combo version. If you're playing Amped Raptor, Unstable Amulet, and Galvanic Discharge, then you're playing the Gruul Energy version, which is basically a poorer version of the Boros Energy deck. And then your sideboards, you have some green splash effects, mainly for Pick Your Poison, and sometimes artifact removal like D-Rev. Other than that, you're mainly playing almost a mono red deck. Your deck also usually features some amount of additional anti-removal stuff, in this case Snakeskin Veil. In addition to that, you usually play Tormod's Crypt or copies of Surgical Extraction for Graveyard Hate against, Storm, Groyo's Vengeance, Frocculus, etc. And then Blood Moons against mainly the big mana decks, although it can be too slow, especially on the draw, especially since the Eldrazi decks have access to 2 soul lands in the format. And then Rough Tumble / Pyroclasm / Fearfire Foes usually comes in against the energy decks, or you've seen some versions play Wild Slash as both a anti-ring tech and anti-creature tech, but in the reality, none of these things really make Prowess, I think, competitive enough in the current meta consistently. So that's kind of the TLDR version of what I said in the first 20-some minutes, plus our first match that unfortunately is not going to have any audio to it because I forgot to plug in the microphone again. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States. If you're elsewhere in the world, I hope you had a good weekend. Next weekend will be the start of our move, so I don't know if I will be streaming next Sunday or not. A lot of it depends on how this week goes, how the move goes. We don't exactly have a confirmed move-in date yet. It's supposed to be this week, but there are some issues with the apartment. We're going to be, well, not issues. There's a piece of the remodeling that needs done that isn't quite done yet, or we haven't confirmed is done yet, so we should be moving next Saturday mostly, but lots of stuff could happen. So just figured I'd give you guys the heads up. As far as going into December, obviously there's a BNR announcement, I think December 15th or 16th. That will have potentially a big effect on the format. Holidays with my family is still coming up. Christmas, New Year's. So, last year I don't think we streamed the last 2 weekends of the year. This weekend, or this year, because of where we'll be moving, there should be streams going into the end of the year, but remains to be seen. Once again, this was the last Prowess stream we'll see for a little bit. I do have one more Prowess video to release sometime in the coming weeks, but there will be no more Prowess streams, I think next week or the week after. Whenever we're streaming in the new place, or whenever I'm streaming in the new place, it will be Storm. Might also get some Vintage Cube in there, depending on how things shake out, but that's kind of where things are at right now. Going into 2025, haven't quite figured out what we're going to be doing. A lot of it's going to depend on resources and the bannings. Obviously, we'll continue streaming Modern, but like what deck, if Storm kind of takes over the channel, or if Boros Energy survives in some form that doesn't involve the One Ring, will we buy into the deck, knowing that at some point it's probably going to eat some type of ban if they don't ban something on the 16th. Got to do something, because the Prowess decks and the Burn decks just are not winning. So anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope to see you for either next week's stream or the following week. I'll let you guys know sometime Sunday, hopefully early on, whether there'll be a stream next week. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and apologize for the technology snafu at the beginning.